Good morning. Have you ever heard a song or looked at a picture and thought, wow, there's so many feelings going through me right now? You know what? It sends shivers down your spine and gives you those feelings of nostalgia, comfort, tenderness, or even sadness. It's this kind of unique aspect of art that makes us all fond of it and really makes it an essential part of being human. What I love about art is the fact that you don't really need to know anything about it to understand it. You could be a 5-year-old, or you could be a 95-year-old, but you will know a good song or photo when you hear or see one. We all grow up with imagination. We all have thoughts, and we all have ideas. Now, these thoughts and ideas may be affected by how you were raised, where you were born, or even what your religion is. But the fundamentality of those ideas, they really do come from you, and they come from us all together. The way we share them is art. The embodiment of those ideas is art. We live to experience, and we spend our whole lives trying as many things as possible. It's really what gives us meaning and purpose to our lives. And we do it because we want to connect with people, either because we're passionate about something, or because we just want to have an intimate relationship with them. Art is what helps us do this. It is the physical pathway through which creative ideas flow and are transferred to others. It really does fascinate me, the fact that a simple melody can really affect our mood and what we're thinking of in the moment. You could be listening to Claude Debussy's Clair de Lune and imagine the moonlight shining down on Paris the night his daughter was born. Or you could be looking at Vincent van Gogh's famous Starry Night and feel his immense nostalgia to his hometown in the Netherlands, where his mom lived along with his sister and he thought he'd never see them again. I myself am a photographer. And no, not really the kind of photographer that buys a DSLR and goes away and straight away calls themselves a photographer once they start a Facebook page. I actually go out and take photos and talk to people and create art. But I'm also a musician, and I play the piano. In fact, I've been playing it on this very stage almost 4 years ago, since I joined the school. Not really much has changed. Those were my ways of interacting with the people around me and sharing my perception of my world. It really helped me connect to people. The way those two started for me were very similar. I got a toy piano and a toy camera on my 11th birthday, but back at the time, I didn't really appreciate the fun and the deep meaning of what having a piano or having a camera had. I didn't really get it at the time. All I wanted was a PlayStation 3 like any other kid. But I ended up teaching myself everything I know about both of them. And I did so for 6 years. And here I am, giving a TED Talk and posting a lot on my Instagram account. Now, my grandfather was also a musician. He played the piano, the violin, oud, and he had immense love for painting. It's really where I got my traits from, now that I'm thinking about it. But enough about me. If you yourself have ever done anything that you would consider artistic, then please raise your hands. Let's have a show of hands. All right, a few hands here and there. That's fine. We don't really consider ourselves artists. When we hear the word artist, we usually think of someone who was born with skills good enough to paint, or draw, or write, or play an instrument. You know, a straight out of the womb sort of guy. But the fact is, whether you like it or not, each and every one of us is an artist. The only difference between normal people and dedicated people is the word itself, dedication. They dedicate their time and energy into learning and understanding and really developing their skills. This works for everything, by the way, not just art. But if you really want to do it, you will. All you need is discipline. Everyone already has the basic understanding that art needs. There's a strange psychological phenomena that is sort of awareness that's called pareidolia. And this phenomena is when people assign human characteristics to objects, where they basically see faces or objects where they aren't actually there. Don't tell me this doesn't look like a suspicious house, or that this tree isn't about to sneeze the hardest sneeze of its life. Scientists believe this sort of awareness was a survival mechanism to our ancestors. But I don't think we really use it like that anymore, given the kind of life we live in today's world. I think that this kind of awareness is what led us to become artists in the first place. You see something in nature, and you try to replicate it. Now, let's get rid of the picture. You see it in our trains, you see it in our boats, our cars, and even basic infrastructure like power lines. Nature really does inspire us, and it shows. Now, when I'm taking pictures, there's purpose behind every click of the shutter. What creates a good image is the ability to portray a story, whether simple or complicated. And that is why, when you're going out and taking pictures, you need to have intention. You need to know what you're trying to go with when you're clicking that shutter. It's really crucial to the art's value. Now, I'm not the most experienced person in the world, nor do I claim to be. But I have gone through a few things that helped me become better at what I do. And I'd like to share them with you. Maybe the next time you go and take photos, you could sort of think of them, and they could work out. First thing, look for patterns. Patterns are interesting because however complicated they are, they're easy to follow because they're repetitive. They convey order and accuracy, which provokes a bold story. Now, you could also look for the exact opposite, the unusual and the unfamiliar. If it's something odd and unique, chances are you're going to gain the viewer's attention. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean an object or a place. It could very well be a unique point of view or a unique perspective. Why do you think drone shots are so interesting and catchy these days? It's because they show us a perspective that none of us are able to see. Unless you're skydiving or you're a bird. In that case, I don't know what you're doing at a TED Talk. Go fly somewhere. No offense to any birds out there. Everyone has their own perception of their world. And it says a lot about the way we think. And anyone who shares their perception of their world is an artist. The way you make someone feel what you felt, or the way you make someone see what you saw through your own eyes, that is what makes you an artist. That's the fundamentality of art. That is what art is, the ability to make someone else feel what you felt. At the end of the day, the reason we do all of this is to connect with people, to have intimate relationships and really enjoy our lives, to have a good laugh or a good cry. Art is the human in us crying out loud. Thank you.